This Minecraft mod completely transforms the game into an RTS, a real-time strategy game. And if you've played any game like Age of Empires, Dawn of War, Stronghold, any top-down games where you command an army and build a whole city, that's exactly what this mod does to Minecraft. So when we create a brand new world, it basically adds this brand new game mode called MineFortress. And basically, a few more settings. So campfire enabled lets you place a campfire in the world, and you can also enable an expandable world border too. So when we first join the game, we've got an option between different game modes. So I can press creative or press survival. So if we press creative, for an example, it allows us to go into the full creative mode, which gives us some more control. And I can place down a campfire, and what this does is it basically spawns our villagers. And if we click on our villagers, it'll give us some information about them. And if I move my camera just a little bit here, now you can see we have a few new buttons. So we can change selection type to squares or walls when we actually select blocks, and everything we highlight gets selected in this radius. We can change to square. Then we have blueprints. So blueprints are basically things which we want to build. So we can place down a blueprint, for an example. These are all different types of houses in the world. We can also spawn things like workshops, all buildings basically from strategy games. We can also click on chop tree and highlight a tree, and then press left click to actually start the task, and it'll actually go and chop that tree down. Now you can see Jeff just literally chopped the tree down for me. You can also click on build roads. So if we highlight some blocks here, and let's just say we get some oak logs, then we can right click and we can actually build a road selection. And what they'll do is they'll go and use all those blocks, and then they'll go build a road. Now if you're in survival mode, these are obviously going to take the blocks from your inventory, but I basically have unlimited blocks. Now this can be easy just to start building some really random stuff, so you want to be really careful here. Jump to campfire will take you to your actual city's main hub, which is obviously the campfire. That's where you start out. You can also skip the night and set respawn points, hide the outlines of the blocks and the tasks. And also there's a help button, so it's kind of like an in-game guidebook which kind of teaches you how to actually play the mod. Left clicking lets you actually dig blocks. Right clicking lets you build blocks. So anything that you build with right click, the actual villagers have to build it for you. So I could actually technically build a Minecraft house, and they would just build it for me. So I could just build it exactly how I would usually build it, but the villagers are doing it all for me. But it's a little bit tricky, especially with the windows. But then you can just make them dig the windows out. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Wait, how do we do a roof? Okay, that's not the best roof. And then we can turn the camera. He's actually getting stuck inside as well. So this adds like a whole brand new camera system where we can look around. We can also access build mode, which we're in. Combat mode. So you would left click on a unit or use the selection box to select them just like in an RTS. And then you can right click to give them commands. But we can't do that because these are actually builders. They're not actually warriors. Zone selection mode basically allows you to select an area type. There's also some things here where there's mining and farming mode too. Inventory, we can view the player's inventory. We can manage the professions. So from here, we have some available professions for our colonists. So we have a few. I believe right now we have these skills by default that are unlocked. So we can click them and actually put points into them. So we have forester, we have farmer, we have 3 points to spend. That's the 3 colonists we have left to assign things to. So we can make one into a warrior. And you can see you can hire warriors and it will give them this equipment. So you can see now we have hunters, we have farmers, so you can go and farm. We can also select the number of villager counts we want to manage. Max villagers count is obviously unlimited. You can see Fed appeared in the village, so that's obviously one of the guys that we just ordered. I don't know which skill he has, but that's the basics of MineFortress. Like I said, it just makes the world into a completely different game where it's kind of like an RTS, and it's actually pretty incredible to see. To actually move the camera, we hold the middle click button to kind of like pan around, and we can move around with the WASD keys. We can use space to fly and then shift to actually descend, so we can ascend and descend, just basically like with creative flight mode. Then we can select any citizen we want to select, as long as they're a warrior in combat mode. In build mode, obviously we can still select people too, and it'll show information about them. So this guy's a hunter. It'll show in the bottom left which task they have and which profession they have. So he's a basic colonist. This guy is a farmer, and he's currently farming by default. And in the bottom right, you can see it shows the day and the time as well. So that's basically the basics of MineFortress. It's a pretty incredible mod, may I actually say so myself. And you know we like to cover mods on this channel which just completely changed the game, and this is just really interesting. As you can see, we just placed down a campfire like I did. You highlight the selection, and the villagers can literally mine like the whole surface area of the ground out. In this clip here, which is credit to the original authors who actually made this video, you can see they've carved out the actual full ground into a crevice, and then they've used those prefabs which I actually showed you to actually build buildings in the ground. So you can do this method to clear some land, and then you can build a whole bunch of structures, and it's kind of like building your own NPC village from the ground up, which is pretty cool. It's like this isn't a naturally spawning structure in the world. He's just building this structure from the ground up, and we can choose between functional schematics like these farms, and then also the houses for villagers. We can spawn different types of farms. We can destroy buildings and then obviously hire people to actually work on the land, and then we can select between those professions like I showed you before. So some really cool stuff. And then obviously, as you can see, he just hires some warriors, and you can see those new warriors by that campfire right now. So back in game, just before we close out, if we go into build mode and then we access the blueprint system one more time, you can see we can place down some of these blueprints. Now if we press the R key, we can also rotate them, and they'll go up and down based on the actual terrain type we're placing them on. So if we just use our camera to pan around, which we can do at the same time, we can place down this house in a functional spot where it makes sense. Now you can see the R key actually cycles through the different house types, and it cycles through the different blueprints. So I could just place down a farm for an example, and I could also just tell them to just dig all this area out as well. So if you want to clear areas out, you just select dig, and I could just place a small house. Now if it's red, that means you've got no space, but we could just go to a naturally flat area here and place one of our schematics down. So I could just place one of these houses over here and place it up there. You can also import and export schematics, so you can export blueprints that are custom or import them too. And I'm going to show you on the website, there's actually a catalog that lets you do that. As you can see here, this is the MineFortress site where you can actually download it or support the mod, and there's some really cool features on here. You can see the clip which I covered a moment ago after I showed you my own gameplay, and you can also have a look at some updates on the mod. There's also some really cool pictures here if you don't really understand everything I presented, and it shows the mod's features in a little bit of a closer look. Now what I did want to show you though, which was really interesting, is this blueprints button. So if we click this up here, this basically sends you to a whole other page, which is a catalog of those blueprints I showed you in game. So when we had a look at those blueprints, people are actually uploading custom blueprints. So we can download underground homes, bigger walls, larger farms, and small different fortress and base structures that we can actually import. And these are all in different styles, different terrain types. You can see someone's made a custom prison, a dark oak style building instead of the standard oak. And there's some pretty cool builds in here, like this park or this castle. If you want to kind of expand the features that you can have in the game by building, like this desert style building, you can just open them, and then inside here you just press download and download the file, and then in game you just select import blueprints and then press open folder and paste it in there and press import. It's as simple as that. And that was the MineFortress mod for Minecraft, which is an absolutely incredible mod, and the fact that it completely changes the style of the game into a real-time strategy game from an adventure exploration building game is pretty groundbreaking. And there's so many of these hidden gems in Minecraft which are just untapped, and there's a lot of mods out there that some of you guys haven't even played. Now I'm going to be covering some other incredible mods real soon on this channel, so make sure to like the video and subscribe. And if you have any suggestions for mods that we should cover in the next mod showcase, let me know in the comment section down below too. We covered Alex's caves a few days ago. I mainly just want to cover really groundbreaking mods which are a lot different to what else is out there on CurseForge, because we see a lot of the same mods like gemstones and ores, and they're kind of getting a little bit boring, but mods like MineFortress are just groundbreaking. There's some really cool stuff being released. If you have any mods which you think I should review which are a lot different or really unique, do let me know in the comments and I'll review them in the next mod showcase.